What is up, everybody? It's Nami. And I thought that I would just give a 6-month recap on the year. We're in August now. It's time. I did a 2024 recap in December, and I really just enjoyed formatting it, editing it, looking back on my life. I had the idea that I was going to do it every month, which did not happen because this year has been chaotic. So, on that note, let's get into it. We are currently in Puerto Rico. We came here in February. Let's start with January. January was a great month. I did a retreat. It was amazing. And I sent Wilder off to be with her grandmother and my family. Shout out to Gigi. Also, I have a little bit of the sniffles. So let's just bypass me sniffing, okay? Also, there is a parrot. Our neighbor has a parrot, and he is very loud, and so he might try to make an appearance. But anyways, January, we were in Colombia. February came around. I moved to Puerto Rico. I did not think that I was going to be staying in Puerto Rico. I thought I was just going to be here to visit. I thought there was a chance that I might want to stay, but I was so sure that I was going back to Colombia that I literally left some of my things there with a friend. Like, they're still there currently. I need to go get them. I came out here because I wanted to see a ex-family friend. We'll get into that. I also wanted to check out my grandpa who passed before I was born. Our family lived on the island prior to him moving to Florida, where he met my grandmother. That side of the family was very old, and up until recently, we thought that there was no connections of ours left on the island, at least blood related. And so I knew that we had a house here. I wanted to see what type of shape it's in and also just connect. There was opportunity for me to just come here, hang out with said ex-friend, and I was like, of course, why not? Wilder is doing her thing in California. Why wouldn't I go back to Puerto Rico? I haven't been in Puerto Rico by myself. Every single time I've come, it's been with family or friends or whatever. And so I just really wanted to experience it by myself. It was just an opportunity to leave. I was only going to be able to stay in Colombia for 6 months at a time unless I got a visa, and that's a process, and just like people getting denied and all of these things. So I was just like, you know what, let me just go spend a month or two in Puerto Rico, possibly go back home for a little bit after that. If I wanted to, or go somewhere else and just chill out and then make my way back to Colombia. Okay, so yeah, I got to Puerto Rico. Everything was nice, just chilling, hanging out. I was planning for my birthday trip to Cartagena in April. I hosted my first international group travel trip. So during that time, I was planning on having my sister come and be there with Wilder while I was doing my trip and having my birthday. One thing led to another, and she ended up just coming to Puerto Rico, and I was like, okay, cool, we'll be here in Puerto Rico. Also, another thing happened to where my sister was now no longer going back to where she was coming from. So that turned into my sister, and our two kids, our two daughters, being together. So at this point, we're in Puerto Rico, we're thinking about it, and I'm just like really going back and forth, like, okay, what am I doing here? What am I doing in Puerto Rico? Because I don't typically move without feeling the need to. I pray about it. I really allow the Lord to just lead me wherever I'm supposed to go. The person that I was staying with has a terminally ill condition and did not want to use traditional methods. And so I thought maybe that is why I'm here, to kind of help get into medicinal herbs and things like that, and I don't know, just use what I know to help out. And so that's what I just started doing. This person was like family to me. I have known them since I was a teenager, early teens. It's like I considered them family. And I will tell you why I don't consider them family anymore. They had to get cut off. We were all here together and hanging out. My sister was here. We're just exploring, whatever. I go to my birthday trip. This is now in April. And come back, and me and my sister are like, you know what? We kind of want to stay here. The person that I was staying with also was looking for a way to keep their things here on the island because they were needing to get off of the island for personal reasons. So it was like, okay, cool. We want to stay here. You need some storage space. Also, one of their kids was staying as well, older, and they were planning to get like a 2-bedroom and one of the rooms be for storage, the other room be his, whatever. That was like perfect because cool, we'll just get a bigger house, everybody pays their little amount and live happily ever after. Well, we end up moving. We found a nice house, spacious, everybody has what they need. So we thought, we end up moving. The person decides that they are going to stay and not take their room, but also take another room. In the midst of all this happening, it's just honestly chaotic. I personally, if you followed along with my YouTubes, don't like living with people. When I have lived with people, it has not turned out great. I have just had instances, moved to Thailand with someone who was my roommate for an entire year and a half before and ended up just being in toxic energy. It was starting to get put off on Wilder. Like, it was just not fun. Try it again in Costa Rica, and that person didn't want to pay rent. So I'm coming up out of pocket, having to pay rent. Moved to Colombia, lived by ourselves, and had the best freaking time. I can always live with my sister. We know how to live together and coexist and not step on each other's toes, not have a toxic environment, and leave each other alone if we need to, and kiki when we want to, and whatever. I already knew in coming to Puerto Rico, if I was going to stay, that I would need a car and that I would need my own space. If it was with my sister, each of us need our own space, you know. So I was already knowing that. Anyways, one thing led to another, and we don't have our own space. The environment is just toxic. It just was not a good time. It was very stressful. In that time, I'm trying to just get a car so I can be mobile, so we can be mobile. My sister is looking for a job. That's stressful. She doesn't speak Spanish, so it was just hard for her to really find one. And then she's also coming off dealing with a whole host of her own crap. There was a lot going on. My system when I move to new places is to get everything in order quickly. Get the house in order, get Wilder in order. She was in school in Colombia, and that gave me my time to do what I need to do, whether that be taking care of myself, whether that be working, whatever it is. Be efficient and keep our lives moving. And she gets to also socialize and do whatever she needs to do. So this year, that has not been a thing. I was going through trying to figure out, am I going to homeschool Wilder? Am I going to put her in school? A smart thing would have been to figure these things out before I decided to officially move to Puerto Rico. But I was already kind of leaning towards homeschooling, and I just wasn't finding anything here that said, yes, put her in school. I was just like, I'm not going to pay $500 a month to send her to school when I could turn around and use that $500 to put her in dance classes and swim and music lessons and do all of these things that I know she would want to do, versus putting her in school and her having to do the school stuff and us not be together, and all of the cousins are being homeschooled as well. So it's just kind of like, you know what, let me just try it out. I want her to be supported. I want her to continue to think learning is fun and all of that. She's used to play-based learning. She's used to outside of the box type of things, activities, and all of that. So I don't want to take that away from her and put her into a private school where everything is super strict and she has to be very structured. She's already not that type of kid. She has not grown up to be that way, and I don't want to strip her and dim her in the way that traditional schooling does that. Anyways, all of that to say, we are doing that here. We're doing that at home. And so that is the focus. Right now, I have the means to be able to homeschool Wilder. So while I do, I want to make sure that I put my all into it to see if that is a standard that needs to be upheld, or if it's going to be like, okay, nope, next year you are definitely going into school. And even if it's structured, it's just going to have to be what we make of it, because I cannot do it in a way that's fun for you, in a way that's beneficial to both of us, that keeps you happy with learning and excited about learning and doesn't drive me into the freaking wall. What else has gone on? I had 2 trips that I was planning, 2 more group trips this year, canceled. It has just been crazy. It's been one thing after another the last 6 months. I finally feel like the energy is starting to let up, but it was getting so stressful there for a second that I was just taking it day by day. And it wasn't until we got into this house and I was able to just breathe that I realized how truly stressed out I was. I just decided to hang up the 2 trips, and I'm just going to redrop the dates next year, because I don't want to half-ass it. I want to be able to promote everything exactly how I want. One of the trips is with my friend Selman, who is from Colombia. His business is Conscious Traveling. He's a yogi. He's super amazing, wellness-minded, and just like we vibe on the same type of frequency. And so I'm really excited to be able to do a trip with him. We just wanted to take a step back and get the full media, the coverage, just to be able to like actually do it very intentionally. With my first trip, I kind of just like threw it together, and it turned out amazing. Like the planning and everything was not thrown together, but I just threw it together. It was all of like my really close friends that I literally love so much, and they pulled through, but only your friends pull through like that, you know? So I want to give people time to really get to know me, get to know what type of trips we're hosting, get to know what type of things we're doing, and I don't want to rush the process. And I felt like with everything going on, it was just kind of taking more of a backseat than I feel that it deserves. So I pulled the trips for 2025. If you made the Cartagena trip, you made the only trip with me for 2025. And if you want a trip, you're going to have to come next year. We'll get the dates out soon. But yes, we are headed to Mexico. Nami and Selman take over Mexico. Stay tuned for that. That's going to be fun. And who knows what else I'll get into this year. I don't know how long I'm going to be here for, as is always the case. I do want a home base. I would love to have a home base here. But there are a lot of things that you have to be prepared for here. And in order to be prepared for those things, it would require me making sure that I lock in. Otherwise, I'm losing money. You need to get a good generator, which is a nice little chunk of change. You need to be prepared in case the water comes out, another nice little chunk of change. Right now we're in an apartment, and I mean, we're as prepared as can be, but it's only temporary. And if something were to really go down, like, we're not lasting more than 30 days, before we need to get the heck out, or we're stuck. And if you know Puerto Rico, there's hurricanes, there's tropical storms. The island itself is not very well structured in terms of electricity, water, and things like that. Even over the last 2-3 weeks, we've been in a crisis, a water crisis. So we have just like jugs of water and things like that ready to go just in case. We have our water stash, we have food stash, like we have those things, but you need more if you're planning to stay here long term. And honestly, even short term, like us staying a year, we should really have more. We're just out here. Wherever I go, my sister goes now, and the kids. So it's not just me and Wildy anymore, which kind of just makes me want to go a little bit deeper into settling down. Like, it's been nice traveling around. What has not been nice is traveling out of our suitcases. And it's not necessarily the traveling out of our suitcases, it's the fact that that's all we have. We don't need a lot, but it's just like, I have my computer equipment, two instruments, my DJ controller. We have all of our clothes and stuff. Like, Wildy's drawing pictures, she's making little art things and painting and getting a ball, or she's getting a bike and she's getting a scooter. And it's like, I don't want to leave after 6 months and have to sell her bike, have to sell her scooter. Like, on one hand, it does teach us not to hold on to material things, so that is a good lesson. But on the other hand, she's only 5 and so like seeing her trip out about us having to give away her bike or her scooter, something that she really loves, it's like, that's not fun for me. And I want her to enjoy her childhood. She loves to travel. I think that she would love to travel still if it were a month at a time or 3 months at a time. Like, I want her to be able to have a sense of home. Even though we moved around a lot, my grandma's house was always my grandma's house. And, my aunties and them may have moved, but like not a whole bunch. So it's like, I want to be able to have a place for us to call home. And so if that means that I need to settle down for a while to get that, then I'm down with doing that. And if that means that we're not traveling with everything that we own and every year going to a different place, I'm definitely down. The goal in even moving was to find somewhere that feels good enough to call home for a while. So, we've been doing exactly what we set out to do. And now we're just kind of seeing how we can still be able to do those fun things that we love, but also have a little bit more stability. So I have finally reached monetization on my YouTube channel. It took a year of consistently posting every single week, not just vlogs. I would post 2 vlogs, but I would also post 2 sit-down talking head videos, usually pertaining to wherever I'm at, whatever country I'm in, and the information that I am gathering from that country. So we did Chiang Mai, we did Costa Rica, we did Colombia, now we're in Puerto Rico, Malaysia was sprinkled in there, Laos was sprinkled in there, Panama sprinkled in there, and now Puerto Rico. I have been feeling very unfulfilled with my content. If you follow along, you probably have heard me talk about it. But because I've been trying to hit that 1 video a week goal for the last year, it's just really been about getting out a video and allowing my craft, my art, to refine itself as I go. On one hand, I'm like, I really want to get this right. I really want to get this exactly how I want. And on the other hand, life just keeps happening. I really want to focus more on my creativity, the film aspects and everything like that. On the other hand, the main goal is to not just showcase my life, but also help people along the way, give my advice, my perspective on where I'm going, what I'm doing, and also share all of the information that I researched and found on my own through blood, sweat, and tears with other people, so that they don't have to look as hard, so that they can see that it is easy, so that I can take off some stress from the decision of leaving and going to these places. So far, it's been so good. The goal has been accomplished, and we're doing what the heck needs to be done. I'm still doing my best to keep up with one video per week, but I am planning a lot more and getting a lot more down into the nitty-gritty, because I do want to have it more focused. I want to have it more polished. I feel like everything that I do professionally, photography, videography, all of that stuff, obviously it's a lot easier because I'm filming or shooting other people instead of shooting myself, and I don't have to worry about the inside voice critiquing me the entire time. With my vlogs and my YouTube videos, I really honestly just throw them up. It's very minimal editing. I'm not doing too much because the focus is not solely on that. Like, it's not making me my income that I need to thrive. And so that's reflected, and I know that, and I don't like it because I want all of my stuff to hold the same standard regardless of whether it's making me money or not. So that's what the focus is. Let's talk about dating. Over the last couple years, I have gotten the opportunity to date outside of the country, and I definitely have not really talked about it too much. I honestly like to keep my dating life private. It's one of the more vulnerable areas of my life for sure. I really have not even gotten into my relationship with the father of my child, and what happened with all of that. I mean, if you watched the intro to the Life of Nami series, I touched on it like in one sentence. Wilder's father passed away when she was 1.5. We were married before that, and we did not have a healthy relationship. We went through a lot. I went through a lot. I had to learn a lot. It was not a fun time. It was actually one of the worst times in my life. It took a lot of piecing myself back together over the years. Since then, I've had one relationship that literally was like 6 months, 3 months too long. I want to just talk about the dating because that is something that I do get asked a lot, and I never really talk about. I definitely have realized that I hold a standard for dating, and the standard is honestly pretty high, but only because I have experienced the high and I refuse to go low. There's definitely things dating outside of the country, and especially as a woman of color, that I think you should be aware of, and one of them is being a goal or a box to check off. I dated a black girl, or I did this and that with a black girl, is definitely a thing, and I feel like the world we live in is very overly sexualized, and as a woman of color, you are also overly sexualized off rip a lot of the time, and I noticed that being a thing outside of the country. I feel like the energy around travel and transient people is also very transient, so I feel like you're not really finding people that are wanting anything serious. It's very much so dating culture. It's very much so sleeping around culture. And I saw that in multiple different places. It's like, oh, well, we're here for the night type of vibes. We should get together. Like, no, we should not. Things like that, where it's just like people are there and they're having a good time while they're there, and then they leave and it's done. That is not my vibe at all. So I did not vibe well. A lot of the times I keep to myself. I mean, I'm already not in a place to be in those type of scenarios because I have a child. So I will say, like, the most chivalrous type of people that I met were in Colombia. I don't know what it was about Colombia. Everybody wanted to just have sex. But I did actually get taken on dates. I did not have to do the planning. I did not have to worry about how I was going to get there. Like, they would pick me up, tell me the time, plan the whole thing, drop me off at home. And if I said no, they were chilling. But they would make it. I had a few people who were like, oh, no, it's not like that. I'm not trying to do that. Even go to the point of not kissing, whatever. And then once it was unleashed, it was unleashed. I feel like the most handsome men are in Puerto Rico. Never in my life have I seen such handsome men. The ratio is like 8 out of 10. Every 10 men that you see, 8 of them will be drop dead gorgeous. I'm not even joking. It's like every day. And honestly, that's all I need. Like, I don't even really need a man. I just need to be able to look at fine men on the daily. Like, that is enough. I don't need y'all to come close. I don't need you to talk to me. I just want to see that you're there. The vibes here in Puerto Rico, though, are very nonchalant. Everybody is very nonchalant. Nobody is giving a crap. Maybe because everybody is beautiful here. So it's just like, one thing that I do think is really cool outside of the States is, like, nobody cares if you have a child. Like, they'll be like, oh, bring him. What? Sorry, what did you say? I'm definitely not going to do that. But the fact that you even offered is, like, really nice, because in the States it's like, oh, you have a kid, oh my god, you're a villain. Like, you are a villain, stay away from me. Like, you have done the most unholy of holy things. You have a kid. How dare you be 30 years old and have gone through a marriage and had a child with your husband and now are a single mother and have a 5-year-old. Like, how dare you? That's how I feel like it's treated in the States. And I've had a lot of friends who are not from the States and have talked to expats, people from the States, and been like, what is with your men freaking out the minute that they see that somebody has a child? And I'm like, I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with them. We don't claim them. We don't even want them. Like, we don't want them. But yeah, it was been really cool to not have being a mother define me in the dating world, because I'm still me. Navigating dating while being a mother is hard. It's hard. I feel like people are so quick to say, don't ever introduce your man to your child, or like, give it a year, give it 6 months. Like, honey, don't you know that I wear my heart on my sleeve? Don't you know that my child is extremely sensitive to energy? I need to know if she doesn't like you. And what about friends? Like, why are we not teaching our kids that it's okay to have friends of the opposite sex? Well, first of all, I know that is a taboo in itself, but this is not for the people who think that opposite sexes cannot be friends, okay? This is only for the healthy people who understand that you are supposed to be able to have platonic love, okay? And I am definitely teaching my child that. I want her to see, and she does see, that I have guy friends that I'm not romantically involved with. She needs to be able to see that. I never got to see that growing up, and that's why I had to sit there and battle so hard against thinking that anybody that had a penis around me was a possible lover, when that's definitely not the case. We are supposed to only have one happily ever after, yet we spend our entire lives thinking that any person we might be talking to could possibly be our Prince Charming, and that's not the fucking case. In fact, 99.9% of them are not. So something's got to change here. It's definitely been interesting dating outside of the country with a 5-year-old. It's been an interesting experience, and I feel like there's so many things that I am uncovering about myself in dating. I feel like our reflections are best mirrored when we are in relationships. But yeah, we are getting the most genuine reflection of ourselves when we're dating, if we do it in the correct way. And so I have been really just, when the opportunity comes and I find somebody that I feel is worth vibing with and diving deeper into, really doing my best to open up the door to have those reflections come in. Yeah, it's definitely been a journey. It's been a very draining journey. Honestly, I wish I could just peer into the future and see if I'm like actually married with more children and happy about it. Is that a no? Is that a no? Jesus, he's like, shut the fuck up, you're not gonna do that. I don't know, is it a no or a yes? I wish I could just peer into the future though and really see, do I keep dating around? Because if not, I'll be happy to just not date anybody and just not give anybody the time of day. But it's my open heart that's like, you know what, let me see if you get a chance. And then immediately it's like, no, I'm a very full lover, off rip, and I don't want to be in a position where I have to hold myself back. But I genuinely look forward to being able to give somebody fullness and get fullness in return. And that's a very vulnerable thing to do over and over and over again. And like, I'm not casually dating around here. I've tried to come at it in a casual way, and even that gets hard when it comes down to like the dating scene and what people are doing. I'm always tweaking something. I'm always tuning something. I need somebody who matches my tempo, and I feel like my tempo is very fast, and there's a lot of lazy people. So it's just been very different. I feel like I need a very different type of person. I feel like that's because I am a very different type of person. I know that person is out there. If I stayed in the States, it would have been very far and few in between of like finding men who planned the whole date themselves, picked me up, told me what to wear, and it turned out to be an amazing time. And then not only did they do that once, they did that again and again, and like that was the standard for them. I never thought that like that would be a norm for me. And now I know if he's not planning a date, it's not for me. If I gotta ask, it's not for me, you know? And it's taken me a few times to really get that in my head. It might be for somebody else, but guess what? It's not for me. Good, and there's gonna be bad. And being in new territory, you're gonna get a little bit of both. So that's been nice to see the pros and cons and everything. But I feel that is like kind of my standard for love now, you know? So that's nice. Also just kind of meeting people that are on a completely different time, like just on a completely different time, not just romantically, but in general, friends that are on a completely different time. Like, it's nothing for me to have a conversation with my friend and being like, I'm leaving to Colombia tomorrow for the next year. They were like, oh my God, why are you doing that? What about Wilder? What about yourself? How are you going to make that work? What are you going to do? How are you, like all of the negative things that you would get from people who never left their state. Instead, it's like, oh dang, what's calling you there? Do you know how long you're going to be there? And maybe I'll come visit you. Da 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 da. Let me know when you're going to be there, and I'm going to buy my ticket. And it's just a completely different conversation, and it's an elevated state of mind for me. Being around so many different people who are traveling, meeting people who are of like mind, meeting people who have gone through the same refinement with others, having to deal with transient people, having to deal with people who are like, oh, I'm just going to create some ruckus and then I'm going to up and leave to a different country and nobody's going to know me there so I can escape my problem, versus people who are going to sit there and talk about it and talk through it and really make an effort to see eye to eye with somebody, even though they are leaving and they'll never see them again, like it just really has helped me see and understand people's true intentions and people's true character, and also be able to spot it earlier. And that's really nice, because I feel I'm a very genuine person, and I really give people the benefit of the doubt, and I always try to see somebody as innocent until proven guilty. And like, people can put on a mask for a really long time. I think on the other side of that too, seeing people who genuinely mean well and want to do well, but are just not on that part of the journey for themselves, and being able to take a step back and be like, you know what, I really genuinely like who you are as a person, but the actions that you're taking and the way that you are carrying yourself is not for me right now, and that's okay. Since being on bad terms with my ex and not getting to fix that while he was still living here on this earth, it really opened a wound for burning bridges. I really do not like to burn bridges. I really go to the depths to try and prevent that from happening. And like, you can only go as far as you can. The other person has to meet you. But I really try and not allow for it to get to the point of burning that bridge. Unless you really do some slimy stuff, unless you really are just not a good person, or unless I didn't do what I needed to do to prevent our situation from getting to that icky, nasty place where I just no longer can fuck with you at all. I'm really doing my best to preserve relationships, even if that means setting them on the shelf and letting them age for a while, and coming back to them when everybody is in a completely different light and changed, and allowing people to be on their journey, and allowing myself to leave them where they're at, and allow for space for us to meet again in the future, if that's the case. So far it has not been. But there's always hope, I think it's also really just doubled down on my circle, my support, my friends that I have now. Really understanding that it's super crucial to be able to have people around that see you, that understand you, and that think along the same lines as you. I definitely think it's helpful to have different perspectives, but it is really helpful to be able to talk to people who are unbiased, who are not going to just jump on your side because you're a friend, who are going to give it to you straight, who that if they were going through a situation and came to you, or if they were going through a situation, they would probably handle it in a similar manner that you feel comfortable with doing. It's really nice to have a sort of counsel. I feel like I go through things myself a lot of the time. I'm having to sit there, I journal, I weigh out my pros and cons. It may seem like I live a crazy, super spontaneous life, and I truly don't. I really just allow myself to be led. I really think out, not like just the places that I want to go, but the other options that maybe are less favorable, that might be more challenging, that might be more uncomfortable. I really do my best to analyze them and think them through, and then to talk to my people about them. Talk to the people that know me, that know my weaknesses, that know my strengths, that know that I'm prone to maybe just saying fuck it and making a decision because I don't mind going through the consequences, whether they're good or bad. Like, people that help me level, but also don't try to force one's type of thinking or way of living onto me, etc., etc. It's really nice to have people around that care about me, that are asking, not just like catching up or like keeping up on my life, but are asking me questions. What do you think about this? Last time we talked about this, and I was thinking about this, and I went down this hole, sending me different things to help me refine myself. I listened to this and I really found it helpful. You should listen to it. Being able to have talks about it. Being able to just throw random crazy ass ideas out and then say, dude, that passed through my mind the other day and this is what I was thinking about it, and coming to like conclusions together, or like diving into new topics together. I swear the people that I have around me now are just so amazing and really inspire me on the times where I really don't want to do anything. It just so happens that I call up one of my friends to just see how they're doing, and they inspire me to like get back on doing the things that I want to do. And it's just really nice to have people around that are not stagnant. And I only say not stagnant because that is like something that I don't like to be, is stagnant, and I realize that, and I don't think that's very common. Like, a lot of people don't mind being complacent. There's some people that's even exactly what they're supposed to be doing, is just like focusing on other things, and everything else that in their life is the same, and they do perfectly well with that. I don't do perfectly well with that, and so having friends around who also don't do perfectly well with that and have figured out how to make the other side of the spectrum work for them and do it well is really nice. A lot of the things that I'm doing right now are untouched in the majority of people that I know. So having a few people around me that either are living that same lifestyle, or who are very unbiased and who are very open and receiving to the lifestyle I live, and take the time to see me and understand me and know how I move and how I work, and are able to then reflect things onto me, it's like really, really freaking nice. And traveling around has just like helped me to hone in on those relationships and really give to those relationships a lot more. This video is getting super long. It really started off as me recapping the last 6 months, and honestly, it's really crazy and just like winded and ramble, because that is how this last 6 months has felt to me. Being back in the States, in a territory of the States, I feel the energy of the States, and it almost had me leaving for a second. Like, I don't feel like I'm the type of person to run, and I literally was faced with, am I gonna run or am I gonna stay and stick through this? It's definitely not easy living here on the island. Things are expensive. I'm not rich. I'm used to just me and Wilder. Now it's me, Wilder, my sister, and my niece. And obviously my sister is a grown adult, and fully capable of taking care of herself. But also, when you have a younger sister and an older sister dynamic, it's like I do feel responsible for them, you know. Like, we are in a house together. I definitely told my sister I would be of help, and that is what I would do it for anybody in my family or my friends, my circle at all. Wilder and my niece are able to grow up together, because that is something that I was really like distraught over the last 2-3 years of, like, Wilder's not getting the same type of family dynamic that I got when I grew up. She's definitely getting something, traveling the world, and that's not something normal. So definitely not dimming that part of our lives at all, but I really value family. I really value the connection and the love that my family has. And so I'm always looking for ways to be able to incorporate that, so Wilder also grows up with that, because that is a big part of the foundation of who I am and what I love most about my family and myself. Yeah, it's just been a very big curve, very big learning curve. Have not been in my usual routine. I've not been in my usual comfort. I've not been in my usual autonomy, honestly. And for the last 6 months, I have been not grounded in a way that I normally am. Even though I'm moving around doing these things, I always feel grounded. I always feel very confident in my decision making because it's just me and Wilder. And usually we're fine wherever we're at with each other. And I know what we need to thrive. When it gets into more people, obviously it's a completely different ballgame. And even though, like I said, my sister is an adult and fully capable of managing herself, it's different when you live with another person and when you guys both have to manage yourselves and your kids together and all of that, So yeah, it's been, the last 6 months have been unexpectedly refining, and I had no idea in January that I would be here, sitting here now. And I think that's the fun part about life, and that's why I love just following my intuition. It's always leading me into crazy cool experiences, amazing challenges, and I say that genuinely. I love going through things, going through the fire and coming out like, yeah, I did that. And you always have the opportunity to feel that because you're still here. You're still getting to wake up every day and choose how you show up. And that's a wrap. That's on that. This is our lives here in Puerto Rico. If you've stayed this long, definitely give me a like, give me a subscribe. Check out my other videos. I have playlists for Costa Rica, Colombia, Thailand, Puerto Rico. I have TikTok and YouTube, or TikTok and Instagram. You can find me at Nami Hewitt. I host group travel trips. I post blogs. I go live on TikTok. I'm very active on social media every day, pretty much. So don't be afraid to connect. If you see me out, say hi. If you're in Puerto Rico, you want to collab, let me know. We are hosting some events, so check out the events that we have going on, or hit me up and I will let you know. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for coming along on this Life of Nami journey.